watching 5 Star Live, presented by Waffle House. East Tennessee's #1 post-game high school football show. Live. On location. Biggest game of the week. Live interviews from the winning coaches and players, along with highlights from other games around East Tennessee. Your hosts, Jesse Smithy and Kevin Smith, with decades of experience covering and coaching high school sports, along with the 5 Star Preps team, will update you on games as they become final, and will break down region outlooks and what's to come for your favorite football teams and top players. Now, get ready for the most comprehensive high school football coverage in Tennessee on 5 Star Live.
Welcome in, everybody, to 5 Star Live, presented by Waffle House. We are here at Central High School, where the Bobcats just polished off a 26-14 win over rival Halls, and now joined by Frank Johnson, the fourth. And I emphasize the fourth because you got 4 touchdowns tonight, one for every namesake that you were named after, and one for yourself. Frank, big win tonight. Obviously, just tell me about this Halls game and kind of what you guys were looking for on offense to kind of exploit and take advantage of.
In practice, we went over the run game a lot. So we got to thank the men up front, our offensive lineman, coach, and back for calling up the plays.
I don't know. I don't have the official tally of what you ran for tonight because the game literally just ended just a couple minutes ago. But it seemed like you got better as the game wore on. They cut it to 19-14 late there in the fourth quarter. Got it down there, and then you ripped off a long run. Take me through that long run, and we're going to show highlights of it later on. But take me through that long run and just the holes that opened up for you.
I rolled my ankle, so I was hurt.
During that run?
No, I rolled my ankle before.
Okay.
But, the line blocked, and I just seen the hole and hit it.
It seems like during the course of the season, you've gotten more and more involved on the offense. I type up stats every week. I go to Max Preps, and I see your production, 100-yard game, 100-yard game, 100-yard game. What's that been like for you, a sophomore, to start getting more and more involved, and while this team has been winning?
It's a blessing, man. Just got to thank the coaches and the staff for giving me a chance.
So let's learn a little bit more about Frank Johnson the fourth. Those guys that you're named after, were they football players or? No,
my dad played basketball. He was a basketball player.
Here at Central, or?
No, he was in South Carolina.
Okay. So what happened with you in football? What caused you to take up football and stick with it?
Youth league. I didn't play until like 5th grade. You know Frederick Washington?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, he's the one that called me and said he wanted me to come play football with him, so I came and played with him.
Did you start off as a running back? Because you're kind of a big, solid dude. Would you start off a running back, or they put you up front?
I used to be skinny, but I still play running back.
Okay. You look at your physique now, and I hear people calling you Frank the Tank and this, that, and the other. Just describe your running style for maybe somebody out there that's watching that's never seen you play.
Like, compared to somebody?
Well, whether it's compared to somebody or how you like to play.
I'm more like the power back because we got Shannon Mills. He's more like the speed back. I'm more like the faster back.
Last couple things with you. You guys have won 6 games in a row now. Big game coming up next week against West High School that should decide the region championship. Just how much are you looking forward to that game and to keep this thing rolling?
I'm looking forward to it a lot. It's going to be a good game.
All right. Well, Frank, man, thanks so much. Thanks for joining us tonight. Congratulations. 4 touchdowns in the win for Central, 26-14 over Halls. I'm going to ask you to set the mic down. We'll be joined by Nick Craney here in just a moment, and I appreciate you joining the show tonight. All right, that's Frank Johnson, the fourth, sophomore running back from Central High School, 26-14, had 4 rushing touchdowns. We're going to show some highlights here in just a little bit when Kevin Smith joins us on set and when Nick Craney joins us on set. But Halls did a really good job of staying in the game tonight, cut it to 19-14, capitalizing on a turnover late in the fourth quarter, could not come up with the onside kick. And that's when Central decided, hey, let's go back to our workhorse, Frank Johnson, put it in his hands, and the guy just ripped off big run after big run, had about a 40 or 50-yarder that got them down inside the 10-yard line. Next play, handed off to Frank Johnson again, touchdown. You saw him counting 1, 2, 3, 4 touchdowns tonight. Big night for that young man and for Central High School. Now joined by Nick Craney.
How's it going?
Good, man. Good to see you. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Friend of the show. You've been on before on our Waffle House hotline, and good to see you in person. Tonight's game was obviously huge. You guys have gotten everything going. You came into tonight with 5 wins in a row. You wanted to stay in that hunt for that number 1 seed. Just take me through your initial thoughts on this game tonight, 26-14 over Halls.
It's a great win for a lot of reasons. But I'm proud of the way our kids fought adversity, and we had some self-inflicted adversity. We made some mistakes that were uncharacteristic and some things that we need to clean up coming away from this game. But when we made those mistakes, we found a way to respond, and that's something in football you just got to be able to do if you're going to play winning football. Mistakes are going to happen. You got to find a way to get through those and still be successful. And so our guys did that.
Defensively tonight, there were a couple times in the second half, late in the second half, where Halls was either in the red zone or near the red zone. Your guys would come up with a big-time interception.
All week we talked about being okay, which is uncharacteristic for me. I want to not let them move the ball at all. I want to dominate on defense. We talked about all week, being okay with them moving the ball down the field as long as there were not big explosive plays down the field and big touchdown plays down the field. And so, part of that is by design and by game plan. But when it did get down there and they ran out of space, we did a great job of bowing up and making the stops we needed to make.
Frank Johnson, we talked with you about him on the Waffle House hotline a couple of weeks ago when we were out at Catholic. And that young man tonight was just somebody that you could rely on, feed him the ball. It's going to kill the clock, and he's going to find the end zone as well.
He was unbelievable. He was great. I mean, he just every way. He's unbelievable. And just a sophomore, he's got such a bright future. We're very fortunate to have him. And the guys up front for him did a great job executing and blocking and moving guys out of the way.
As I talked to Frank, I said, look, I type up y'all stats every week. I go to Max Preps, I'm getting it off of there and putting it into our file, and I see his production just keep coming. 100-yard game, 100-yard game, 100-yard game. Is that what y'all hoped out of him or expected out of him coming into this year?
I would say we knew he's capable of that going into the year. But his stock has risen, as the year's gone on, and really, just becoming more and more productive. And honestly, we're blocking better up front. We're getting better, in the trenches in front of him, which helps. But he is continuing to do better and better. And it's a credit to him. It's a credit to him getting stronger and running the ball really hard and really well. But it's also a credit to the guys in front of him.
When I was researching this game, trying to figure out who I'm going to predict, I look at Hall's stats and I see all the turnovers that they've caused. I'm sure you guys saw that on film, whether it was the Carnes game or that they won or what have you. They were able to get some turnovers late and kind of get back in it. But for the most part, y'all really protected the football well when you had to tonight.
Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about. Some of the mistakes we did have that we got to clean up and get corrected. All right, turnovers factor in there. Some penalties that were self-inflicted penalties that we didn't have to have. But those things are going to happen in football, and especially with a team like that. They do a great job running after the ball, and they play with so much effort. And that's one of the things I've said forever as a defensive guy. If you play with great effort as a defense, all 11 guys, you're going to force turnovers because you're going to be around the ball. You're going to get multiple hats to the ball. That ball's going to come out some. And so they do a tremendous job. Halls does a tremendous job on defense, and they play with such effort that those turnovers happen for them. And so, while we don't want to have them and we need to correct them, and those are mistakes on our end, they make those mistakes happen on their end.
Obviously, everything comes down to next week in Week 11, Central versus West for a Region 2 championship in 5A. Take me through your next 2 days when you kind of move on from this win and really start to dig into West High School.
We had a fall break.
Yeah. So you've already been,
and so we had a bye in there too, and so we've had some off time that we've been just throughout the year just watching, and we've been watching Halls for a month. We've been watching them for a month, and so from a game plan standpoint, you start way ahead. Yeah. But over this week, we'll put this one to bed. Us coaches will get in here after I'm done talking to you. We'll watch it. We'll fix what needs to be fixed from our standpoint, and stat it, and we'll put this to bed, and we'll get working on West in the morning.
Do you feel like we'll see something like we saw tonight? They pride themselves on defense, much like Halls does, much like you guys do.
Yeah. I could see that. I could see last time we played them, it was a 10-0 game. Yeah, two totally different teams 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, however many. But it could be one of those nights. But we're running the ball well. We're making good throws. We're catching the football, and so I we had opportunities to score more than 26 tonight if we didn't have some self-inflicted stuff, and so hopefully it's not totally a defensive battle next week.
Well, Nick, man, thanks so much for allowing us to come out tonight. Congratulations on the win. Student section was live tonight. They bought my son a birthday cake. It was my
Did they really?
Yeah, they
That's
did.
Awesome.
They brought it over during halftime, so it was just a great atmosphere. And for a place like this that's so historic and got such rich history, it's really good to see it filled up tonight.
Nothing like football in Fountain City on a Friday night.
Absolutely. Well said. All right, that's Nick Craney, head football coach at Central High School. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to look around the area. We have highlights from like 4 or 5 games tonight. We're going to look back at Powell versus Catholic. We're going to have Tommy Winton on the Waffle House hotline. So much to get to tonight. Stick with us right here on 5 Star Live, presented by Waffle House.
Coker Rental Company is your hometown go-to spot to rent equipment and tools. We offer fast delivery on late model, low hour, boom lifts, excavators, tracked skid steers, scissor lifts, and more. Coker Rental Company prides itself on great customer service and providing the best equipment and tools at a reasonable rate. Give us a call today at 865-457-1478 and let us be your go-to rental company for your next project.
Men's Grooming Studio is Knoxville's premier barbershop. Conveniently located in the center of K-Town, Tapered will have you feeling and looking your best. We offer walk-in appointments, and we specialize in haircuts for both young and old. Our master barbers will give you the best haircut you can find in a style that is unique to you. Come and see us today or check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Welcome back to 5 Star Live, presented by Waffle House. We now dip into segment 2. We start to break down some film. We're joined by Kevin Smith, a longtime co-host up here. Football coach, you know all the X's and O's. And last night, one of the biggest games in Knox County. I mean, people have been talking about this for over a year. It didn't really get scheduled until this offseason, but Catholic and Powell, Division II AAA versus one of the state contenders in 5A. There was a lot of excitement for this game.
Yeah, it lived up to the billing. First half quite didn't go the way Powell wanted it to. Catholic jumped out on them and got after a quick start, but you saw Powell hang around and show a little moxie and come back in the second half.
Yeah, Catholic really owned the spotlight, if you will, in the first half. That young man right there, Keandre Jarman, has a hairline fracture in his foot. I thought he looked really strong in the first half, but Tommy Winton owned the night. 3 touchdown catches. We'll be joined by him later on, but he had 2 in the first half, kind of making up for a fumble he had early in the game, and he was trying to make some things happen, spinning around. Walter Nolan stuck that big hand in there and knocked it out, but for Catholic to go in there and get up 23-7 at the break, that's exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, and I think we've been talking about it for weeks now that Tommy Whitten needs to have the ball in his hands. And I think what we saw, and it's really the last 2 games, we're seeing more screens.
Right.
We're seeing the ball get in his hands, whether it's for deep routes, whether it's in the backfield. And I think we're starting to see the young quarterback getting a little confidence and getting the ball out and distributing it to the playmakers that Catholic has.
Yeah, big interception return for a touchdown with 14 seconds left in the second quarter by Raphael Mays, number 2 linebacker from Catholic. Put them up 23-7. But that young man right there had a big second half. Jarvis Stockton for Powell. He got in the end zone a couple times. Jordan Potts doing what he does best, scrambling around, getting the 2-point conversion. And it was a one-score game at that point.
Yeah, I think you saw there, again, some woes with Catholic. Defensively, they got to find a way to be able to put teams away. But, again, finding a way to win. This is a big football game and a game that you want to get going towards the playoffs. Catholic's got another big game coming up for their playoff seeding. Yeah. So this was kind of one of those games you wanted to get that W.
You want to get the W. You didn't want to get anybody hurt in this game. That's one of Powell's top receivers right there, Jaden Collins. He could not put any weight on that left leg, whether it was a knee or ankle. I don't know. Powell coaches really don't talk about their injuries, but if he doesn't come back, that's a very, very productive slot receiver. Let's talk strategy with offensive coaches. When you have an offense like Powell does and they lose their key slot receiver, what happens to this?
Well, what typically happens, especially at that level, a lot of times now somebody has to come from defense. And you already got guys playing both ways, and now more guys got to play more snaps, and it can really cost you in the playoffs. Hopefully they've had some people that they're grooming, or they've given some reps later in ball games that can come in. And then sometimes you just got to condense your receiver sets down. Instead of 4, 5 wide receiver sets or 3 wide receiver sets, now you got to get down into 3 and 2 receivers, or have your running back line up at the receiver position. We saw that from Lipscomb Academy 2 weeks ago against Catholic. They were out their 2 top receivers, and you saw running backs out at receiver. So depends on their roster, but you may have to come down and condense your receiver sets.
Play of the game right here. Jaden Neal, the freshman, playing with a cast on his left hand, on his non-throwing hand, finds Tommy Whitten, who had a chance to get it up here. Yeah, had to reel it in and hold it between his legs. But that guy right there was the one who was chatting on Twitter in June of 2020 to Matt Lowe saying, let's get a game together. And he showed out in that game. That's what good players do. They not only talk it, but they walk it.
Absolutely. And you know he wanted to catch that, from the get-go, but great concentration and finding a way to secure the ball. And what a lot of people don't see, because we only see offensive highlights most of the time, is he starts and plays every snap at free safety, and a guy against a very prolific Powell offense that was on the field the entire game and doing it offensively. Big game for him, huge night for him, and glad to see him getting going offensively.
Yeah, but still, hated to see Jaden Collins get hurt. With Powell, like I said, they don't really talk about the injury, so we'll just have to wait and see over the next week how that happens. If he's out for the season, if he comes back next week, I don't know. But just given what I saw on him trying to walk off the field, he couldn't do it. Walter Nolan had to come over there, pick him up like a groom holding the bride, taking him into the suite there. It was just a candid moment, a fun moment, and everybody was smiling. But once that moment ended, you're like, man, what happened to Jaden Collins?
Well, and let's give Powell a lot of credit. They were down 23-7 at the half. They were able defensively to hold Catholic to 7 points, scored themselves defensively, and they were able to get back in that football game. They could have easily laid it down there in the second half. Everything was kind of going against them, not getting any breaks. Let's give them a lot of credit there for making that comeback and making it a game. For me as if I'm the head coach, if I'm Coach Lowe, that's exciting to see my ball club come back with that kind of fight in the second half this late in the season with the playoffs on the horizon. That's what you want to see from your team this late.
And they did it with the run game, not just with the pass, but Stockton getting in there, and that's what everybody talks about the pass game with Powell's offense, but the fact that they could run the football against a Division II AAA team, score 22 unanswered, they go up 6 points, they're getting ready to kick a field goal basically to ice the game away. Catholic just happened to block it and go down there and score. But you're right, that was Powell showed well, and they could have won the football game, but right now it's turn the page, go ahead and start looking ahead to the playoffs. It'll be a 1 seed. They're probably going to face Ooltewah in the first round of the 5A playoffs. That's a 1 or 2 win Ooltewah team. There should be no reason that Powell gets upset this year in the first round.
Yeah, and you're really getting back. Here's an opportunity for them to get back to the basics, get to some fundamentals. and get themselves right for when, we don't like to look ahead, obviously, as coaches, but sometimes you understand what's coming and you can get back to basics, get back into some individual work, and really get yourself prepared and ready to go.
Let's get your thoughts on tonight's game. Central wins 26-14 over Halls. Both teams like to pride themselves on their defense, so I kind of had a feeling it might be low scoring, but as you and I were talking, Central probably had a chance to put up more than 30 tonight. They missed a couple extra points. They missed a field goal, but it was pretty much an early indication they were going to give Frank Johnson the fourth the ball all night long.
Yeah, I think what you saw here tonight is Central's got to find a way offensively to finish drives. They had the ball at least 5 times, starting their possession in plus territory, so on their side of the 50, going inside the 30 3 times, and came away with 0 points. That is not going to cut it, especially when we get in the playoffs. You can't let good teams stick around, and they allowed this Halls team to almost make a comeback. I saw a quarterback, Mr. Cummings from Halls, super tough kid. I mean, Jesse, he was getting lit up all night. This defensive line and linebacking core from Central was all over the field tonight. I got to give a couple of guys some love. Jesse, Chase Adams, number 11, 2 sacks tonight, was all over the field. Number 5, the outside linebacker, Q Jackson, another guy who was all over the field defensively and on special teams. These guys were flying around, making life miserable for Hall's offense. And really, Halls wasn't able to give their speedy wide receivers the football. You saw late in the game they were able to finally get them loose. But for the most part, Central was flying around defensively and showing us what they've kind of been known for the last 4 or 5 years.
Frank Johnson, the fourth, gets in right here. 19-7 lead. He starts counting his touchdowns. 1, 2, 3. Big lead. And what you're going to see in the second half is just a lot of big plays, a lot of defining plays, interceptions, block kicks. And there's number 11 right there. He's going to have back-to-back sacks. And just that defense of Central was just relentless all night long. You're going to see them come up with interceptions here in a minute. Just any time that Hall's threatened to do something, they were there.
Absolutely. And this was a block punt right here. Great job of the Central special teams, and it came away with 0 points. Again, this game could have gotten ugly in a hurry in the first half. Let's give Hall's defense a lot of credit for hanging in there, getting an interception right off the turnover there on the block punt.
I had to hit him with the replay. Is that a reverse moss? Do you recall that a reverse moss if it's the defensive back?
I've never called it a reverse moss, but man, that's a phenomenal play.
Yeah, so
we saw a great catch earlier in the game too on a pass interference, a one-handed catch
by Simon Williams, number 5. He actually comes up with a touchdown here in just a little bit. Before we get to the end of the game, and there's Frank Johnson going again, I just wanted to show everybody how tough he is, but there was an unfortunate injury tonight. Zach Plunk, 6'5", 300-pound tackle for Halls, went down with a really bad ankle or foot injury. I'm not going to speculate on what it was, but it was nasty. They got the stretcher out really fast. There was some screaming. They were covering up the foot, and his season likely done. Hopefully he gets back and can somehow continue his career. He was a guy that was getting some next-level looks.
Yeah, our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family, and hope that the doctors can handle this tonight and get him in a stable situation. But, yeah, we're absolutely thinking about him and hoping and praying that he'll be okay, and if the surgery is needed, that it will go well.
Big run right here. Right after Halls cut it to 19-14, you feed Frank Johnson. The possession before they started throwing the football, one got deflected. Hall's intercepted. They go down and make him pay. They get back to running the football. Frank, game over.
Well, yeah, and I was kind of shocked by it, to be honest with you, Jesse, because Central basically held the ball almost the entire third quarter running with Frank Johnson and Shannon Mills.
Yeah.
And we're just pounding it down Hall's throats, and then they got away from it and started throwing the football and got intercepted. But, hey, man, this is an opportunity here. You touched on it with Frank when you were interviewing him. He's coming on of late. He's a sophomore. This is an opportunity for Central and for Frank to really build on something for now and for the future. This guy's thick. He's got vision. He's got an opportunity here to really put his name and his stamp here in Knoxville on really what we've seen is a lot of good backs here in Knoxville. Yeah. He is a load to bring down. And when you're talking about secondary, we saw it tonight. Secondary players are making business decisions not to tackle him.
What's going to be fun is in about a year when he's back up here on the set, he's going to be a junior. He's going to be more confident. He's going to know that he's the guy, air quotes around the guy. He's going to be just speaking more comfortably, and that's what I like about high school sports is you see these kids interviewed as freshmen and sophomore. They're so timid sometimes, and then by the end of their senior year, they're pros at it, and they feel more comfortable in their skin, and that's just a young man that's going to get more and more comfortable as one of the lead backs in the greater Knoxville area.
Hey, man, he reminds me of Jerome Bennis. I know it goes back a little bit, for our younger crowd. Go look up Jerome Bennis from Notre Dame days. He's a load, and this guy reminds me of him a lot. So I'm interested to see his progression as he continues to go. And again, we've talked about this, and we can go back to Powell here, Jesse, and with Central. If you can run the football, you have a chance to win in the playoffs. It is hard to just throw it every down. You never know what kind of weather you're going to have. If you have a running game, you have a chance to win.
Again, Central wins tonight 26-14. They've won 6 games in a row now. They will take on West High School in Week 11. Winner gets the 1 seed, loser gets the 2 seed. Both will host first-round playoff games, but still being that 1 seed is so much more advantageous in the postseason. So that'll be one of many, many games in Week 11.
Points will be at a premium in that game.
Yeah, I did a story for 5starpreps.com just about big games to watch over the next 2 weeks, Weeks 10 and Weeks 11. And Week 11 is just a laundry list of huge games with region implications. So we're going to do our War Room show next week at Gold Star Nutrition. We've done it the last few years. It's a fun night for us. We'll have coach interviews throughout the night, player interviews. We're kind of tracking scores. We put out our brackets, all that. So make sure you're tuned in next week to 5 Star Live. A big fun show. All right, when we come back from our break, we're going to interview Tommy Winton from Catholic High School. He had the big catch there, the game-deciding catch against Powell High School. So that's who we'll talk to when we come back. Stick with us right here on 5 Star Live, presented by Waffle House.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
East Tennessee, the foothills of the Smokies, beautiful lakes, Friday night heroes, and one red light small towns with more life than any big city, where orange and white is displayed. Yeah, the one and only home of the Tennessee Falls, but also the home of the 134th Air Refueling Wing Volunteers. You might catch us in the beautiful skies of East Tennessee, flying the time-tested, irreplaceable, world-traveling, aerial refueling KC-135. Yeah, you heard that right. We refuel other aircraft while traveling the world at over 30,000 feet and 500 miles an hour. The amazing thing is, that's really not the 134th Air Refueling Wing's greatest strength. Our greatest strength is our airmen, our warriors, who have answered our nation's call. Guardians of freedom and justice, not only in our beautiful hills, but worldwide. They are our sentries and avengers, defending our country with their lives. They are the best of us, wingmen, leaders, and warriors. You best believe they will never falter or fail. Flying, fighting, and winning. They are American Airmen and Tennessee Air National Guardsmen. So what are you waiting for? It's time to join the hometown team. Visit GoANG.com or call 1-800-TO-GO-ANG.
You're watching 5 Star Live. East Tennessee's #1 post-game high school football show. Live on location from the biggest game of the week. Live interviews from the winning coaches and players, along with highlights from other big games from around Tennessee. Your host, Jesse Smithy, with decades of experience covering high school sports, and his 5-star preps team will update you on games as they become final and will break down region outlooks and what's to come for your favorite football teams and top players. Now, get ready for the most comprehensive high school football coverage in Tennessee on 5 Star Live.
All right, everybody, welcome back to 5 Star Live, presented by Waffle House. And speaking of Waffle House, we go to the Waffle House hotline, where we are joined by Catholic senior wide receiver, defensive back, Tommy Winton. Tommy, of course, had 3 touchdowns and the game-deciding touchdown in a win over Powell last night. Tommy, I appreciate you making time for us on your Friday night, your off night. Just how are things going for you the day after the win?
Thank you for having me. All is going good.
What was that game like once you got going in it? You and Caden Martin, I can remember all the way back in the summer of 2020, floating out tweets to Matt Lowe, having some fun, just saying, hey, let's get this game together. Once that game started, did it live up to everything you thought it would be?
It definitely lived up to what I thought it was. Kind of slow coming out in the second half, but we came out to a good start to start the game.
There were a lot of off and on with rain, and how much was that a problem, especially for you as a receiver, just trying to hold on to balls, get your hands on the football?
In the beginning of the game, it was kind of rough with the rain. Kind of had to take off the gloves and use my hands and dry my hands off.
There was a play early in the game. I know you were trying to make something happen. You got spinned around. Walter Nolan knocked the ball out, and you had a fumble there at midfield. You came right back and had 2 touchdowns in the first half. How key was that, not only for you mentally, just to say, okay, I can flush out that bad play, but key for Powell in terms of just getting that lead, or key for Catholic getting that lead over Powell?
Really, once that fumble had happened, I just kind of mentally had to lock in and really decide that couldn't happen again.
You look across the other side of the field, and there's one of your best friends, Jordan Potts. And how many guys on that side of the field did you grow up with and play against?
I would say it's probably 9 or 10 of the kids that start for them I played against or played with growing up.
So was that hard to do, or was that fun to do?
It was definitely fun to do. More fun than hard, because I know the kids. I played against them, played with them, so I know everything they kind of do and their tendencies.
You guys have all season long played alongside of a freshman quarterback, Jaden Neal, and he goes out there last night. He's got a cast on his left wrist, his non-throwing hand. It's raining. It's just all the recipe for a disaster for a freshman quarterback. What did you see out of him last night that impressed you?
He didn't fold. That's all I got to say. That last drive was kind of on his back. And even that last play of the game, or that touchdown, it's a fumble snap. And he kept his poise, stayed poised in the pocket, set his feet into the ball.
Take us to that last play for you, the last play on offense. You guys are down there in the red zone, or near the red zone, and Jaden throws it up to you. Was that play designed to go to you first off?
The original play call was a hitch. So I had ran the hitch, and the ball was on the ground. And I looked back, and the cornerback and safety both that came down to try to make a play on the fumble. And I just threw my hand up in there, and he threw the ball. And then everything that happened.
What's it been like for you since that game, or that play kind of went viral? It got shared all over social media. Was your phone just pinging all night?
My phone had actually died during the game, so I didn't see till like this morning. Everything, and there was a bunch of notifications.
So, what was it like at school today for you and for Catholic?
We actually didn't have school today. So
okay.
It was a smooth day.
So were y'all on fall break or something?
No, our bishop, we had a half day originally, and our bishop gave us the day off.
Okay. But still, there's got to be a lot of just text messages and direct messages, private messages on all social media just congratulating not only on the win, but that play, right?
Yeah, everything's going crazy. Direct message mentions on Instagram, Twitter notifications, Snapchat notifications, and our volleyball team just won state as well, so that's going crazy too for the school.
Looking ahead to next week, I know there's a really big game for Catholic High School. You guys are trying to improve your position for playoff standing. Just when does preparation start for you guys to try to win that game, or have you already?
I believe the coaches will start on Sunday, and then we'll come in on Monday and we'll go through film of last week a little bit, and then we'll start and get ready for NBA.
Do you kind of peek ahead? Do you try to find NBA film on Huddle or social media?
I mean, we watch it all year, technically, because, I mean, when we watch other teams play and we're watching their defense, and we just pay attention to everything that goes on.
Last thing for you, Tommy, and I know you're taking college visits right now, and just how are you handling the recruiting game, and just any update, or what do you guys have planned coming up?
I think I'm going to Georgia Tech next weekend, but, I mean, I try not to focus on college while I'm in the high school season. Trying to stay focused and get a ring. That's really the main focus.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, man, congratulations again on the win last night. Big game out of you. 110 yards, 3 touchdowns, and just a 30-29 win over Powell. So wish you guys the best next week, and then get that playoff spot, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right, that's Tommy Winton, senior wide receiver, defensive back from Catholic High School, joining us on the Waffle House hotline. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back, be joined by Kevin Smith. We're going to look at Greenback and Midway. We're going to look at South Doyle and Carter. So many more highlights to get to. Jefferson County, Morristown West. All the highlights you want to see right here on 5 Star Live. Stick with us.
Coker Rental Company is your hometown go-to spot to rent equipment and tools. We offer fast delivery on late model, low hour, boom lifts, excavators, track skid steers, scissor lifts, and more. Coker Rental Company prides itself on great customer service and providing the best equipment and tools at a reasonable rate. Give us a call today at 865-457-1478 and let us be your go-to rental company for your next project.
Men's Grooming Studio is Knoxville's premier barbershop, conveniently located in the center of K-Town. Tapered will have you feeling and looking your best. We offer walk-in appointments, and we specialize in haircuts for both young and old. Our master barbers will give you the best haircut you can find in a style that is unique to you. Come and see us today, or check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Welcome back to 5 Star Live here at Central High School. Again, the Bobcats victorious over Halls tonight. Was it 26-14? They took the score off, 26-14. Missed some extra points, missed a field goal, but still got a big win. They set up a region championship showdown with West High School next week. All right, Kevin, let's get to some games in the area. South Doyle and Carter was just an absolute offensive shootout. Kind of thought that would be the case. Carter comes out with a surprising victory tonight on a night where Sean Gary, the star running back at South Doyle, ran for 233 yards, a couple touchdowns, also had 94 yards receiving. Usually when he pops off like that, there's no stopping him.
Yeah, and you're seeing it right now. I mean, there's going to be the Sean Gary highlight show here for a few minutes. Doing it, we saw it a couple of weeks ago at Fulton. The guy was getting out in space, catching the ball as a receiver, doing it on the ground. And you're right. When he goes off, typically South Doyle wins the game. But tonight, South Doyle's defense just could not stop Carter.
And Carter did a good job of stopping South Doyle tonight in the pass game. I think they were 10 of 26 throwing the football. That's always a recipe for disaster. But Preshawn Brown, number 3 for Carter, had a big kickoff return. South Doyle had just scored late into the fourth quarter. Preshawn runs it all the way back to the 2. They score. They get conversion. They're up 7, and they're able to close it out tonight, 42-38 over South Doyle. And I'm not sure. I got to go back and do some scenario watching for South Doyle, but their stock is plummeting right now. And when it comes to Region 2 4A, they are now 1-4 in their last 5 games.
Yeah, and they may be playing for their lives. And for Carter, man, and for South Doyle, sometimes you get that score late in the game, and you kind of relax. You kind of think, oh man, we finally got over the hump. We're going to win this football game. And you relax on special teams. Great job by Carter getting that special teams play, getting all the way down there, and then punching it in. Huge win for them.
Shout out Caleb Harper. I'm going to have to read his stats. 9 catches, 165, and 2 touchdowns. He's a leading receiver in our area, or at least one of the top 2 or 3, and had another monster game for Carter. He's number 6. I don't know if you remember him. Not a big guy, not your prototype receiver, but somebody that can get lost in space and make big plays happen.
Yeah, and they're throwing it all over the yard, and we've seen that from their quarterback. And they got a couple other guys, too, that calls defenses to not be able to, key in on one player. And so he's being a beneficiary of that.
One of the other games I had a keen interest in, and it wasn't a region game, but Morristown West and Jefferson County is a big rivalry game in that area. Jefferson County had a sophomore quarterback, Isaiah Hall, who had just had a great year, kind of a breakout year for him. Looking back to last week, they got smoked by Science Hills, like 37-0. You're like, well, what happened? This isn't the Jefferson County team that we've seen all year.
Who beat Dobbins Bend?
Yeah, well, come to find out, Isaiah Hall had a really bad ankle injury. He's out for the year, and they didn't handle it that well. Who could have? You lose him early in the game. You don't have a backup plan. You just throw somebody back there. They had a week to prepare, get a new plan in place, and then they go up to they take on a rival tonight and put 55 points on the board.
Yeah, good for them. They were having a really good season.
Yeah.
And like you said, when those injuries happen during the game, it's hard for the players to come back, especially your quarterback, your leader there, for you to come back in that game. And good for them getting back to the drawing board, getting back to practice this week, and coming out and not only doing what they did, but to a rival right down the street there. Big time win for them.
And as good of a season as they've had, you didn't want it to end with a thud. There's the region loss to Science Hill that cost them the 1 seed, but you don't want to just flatline. It was good to see them bounce back. Amarion Mills, the sophomore running back, he's going to be somebody that I'm sure that they rely on, but it's good to see them making plays in the pass game tonight as well.
Yeah, and they were being physical up front. We saw that. They are physical up front. They were still able to run the football, and if they can add the air attack, they're going to be they're still like a dangerous team here going into the playoffs. And if they can finish this thing the right way, I'm just excited for them that they were able to come back this week and not lose it all just because of one injury.
Yeah, got their 6th win tonight. We'll see what they do next week. The 6A playoffs are just absolutely brutal, so you want to go into that with some feel good, with some positivity.
On the best seed possible.
Yeah, so a big win for Jefferson County. Absolutely happy for those guys tonight. And we'll move ahead. The other region game that was really critical coming tonight was Midway and Greenback. Now, Greenback's undergone a coaching change. Of course, Greg Ryan, their head coach, went over to Catholic to be the offensive coordinator. Ethan Edmiston steps in, former Maryville High School player from long ago. He grew up in that area. He knows what Greenback football means, and he's continued to build this team as they've gone on throughout the year. But Midway gets the win tonight. We're not used to seeing Midway beat a program like Greenback, but Midway can throw the football. They did it last year. They've done it this year, and they come away with the win tonight, 29-28 over Greenback. So again, it's go to the scenarios, see where it all shakes out, but.
Well, we're not used to seeing Greenback lose.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting, and we've got a lot of scenarios coming up in a huge Week 11 to determine not only who's getting in the playoffs, who's being left out, and then seeding is all over the place.
Yeah. So big win for Midway. Congratulations to the Green Wave in that community. Like their quarterback, he's somebody that we've covered in the past. They got a guy named Caleb Goodman that can really put some stats up. So keep an eye on that Midway team in the 1A playoffs going forward. Kevin, let's take a look around the area. Alcoa returned tonight to play for the first time in 21 days. We're still in the COVID era, where it can just disrupt your schedule. They had a bye week, then they had a COVID game, and then next thing you know, we're in October and they hadn't played a game in 3 weeks.
Yeah, actually, sometimes that can be beneficial. If you have a veteran team, that can be beneficial for you, like we talked about with Powell, an opportunity to go back to basics, an opportunity to get back with your team and see what you've done well, what you need to improve on, and then have a couple of good weeks of practice to get your mind right and get ready to go and get healthy for that matter. Yeah. So this could be a really good thing for Alcoa.
Alcoa wins tonight 42-0, so it looks like they never took a break. They shut out an opponent. That's a Tyner team that really played Mex County down to the wire last week, had a 2-point conversion to try to win that game against an undefeated Mex County in 2A and got that deflected. But Alcoa wins tonight 42-0 over Tyner. Bearden gets another win. We've talked about their defense all year long until we're blue in the face. It came up last week. The defense helped them get that win 14-10 over Cleveland. Tonight they beat Anderson County 15-12.
I'm going to be real honest with you right here on the show. I was kind of shocked at your pick for Anderson County to beat Bearden, and it's because of this defense. I really believe in this defense, not because they're showing out every week. I mean, it has not let them down. They've kept them in every ball game. Huge win tonight for them. Kudos to them coming off a win last week. Now get back into region play and finish this thing right. Get yourself going in the playoffs. But this was a good win.
Speaking of region play, they take on Farragut next week. That is for a spot in the playoffs. And just the drama that comes with that game anyway is going to be ratcheted up about 10 notches.
Well, and Farragut's got the offense that causes a lot of problems. I mean, they're explosive. And then Bearden's got the defense. It's a clash of defense versus offense. I'm excited to see which one can really put their stamp on the football game.
Speaking of Farragut, they lose tonight against Fulton 33-29. This is a Fulton team that has made a change at quarterback. Rayshawn Jackson no longer with the program. I believe they've moved Marcellus Jackson, number one. They're kind of do-it-all receiver, running back. They moved him into the quarterback position. Last week it counted for 400 yards, but that was against Scott High School. Tonight they post 33 on Farragut. And for Rob Black, who just recently celebrated his 100th win, shout out Coach Black, for them to get that win over a 6A Farragut team with the changes they've had to do offensively, that's a huge sigh of relief for them.
Yeah, I'm shocked, honestly. This is a huge win for Fulton and playing up against a Farragut team that's really explosive. I think it goes again to show Fulton has a defensive line that you just don't. It's hard to see it on film until you see it live, how physical they are and how active they are. And then they've got some electric playmakers that, again, you cannot simulate in practice. You just don't have enough scout team guys that can show you the type of speed and electricity that these guys bring, the elusiveness that they have. They're hard to tackle. Big win for Fulton tonight, especially with some drama and turmoil going on. Farragut, man, got to figure this thing out, man, because you've got a really good Bearden defense coming in that has some confidence now with 2 wins in a row and finding ways to win, Jesse. They were down in that game 2 weeks ago and found a way to win that football game.
Found a way to win tonight. Yeah, found a way to win it tonight. CAK Webb got easy wins tonight in Division II AA. Webb looks like it's still going to retain the 1 seed. CAK and Silverdale play next week for the 2 seed, so we'll keep an eye on that. Greenville wins tonight easily over Morristown West. No surprise there. Jacoby Gillespie, we talked in the break about that young man, wide receiver. Nearly won Mr. Basketball last year. He was our basketball player of the year. He's a Belmont commitment. He's getting Power 5 football offers now from Virginia Tech and Vanderbilt, so might be a decision on his hands.
Hey, man, he's got a tough decision. I was trying to quiz Jesse here. Just what's he going to do? I'm so proud of him. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. I love seeing the 2-sport, 3-sport athletes that are getting out here, showing off for their community, and a guy who's just quietly done it on the football field, and people are finally taking notice of his ability, and he's a really, really good football player. And now he's got a decision to make.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in our 5-star preps, top 30 seniors of the class of 2022, all offseason, all fall, but his stock just continues to go up and up and up. And we'll see. We'll have that early signing period in December.
I'm excited for him.
I'm sure the Belmont coaches, basketball coaches, are probably sweating bullets over there.
At the end of the day, all you want sometimes in life is options, and he's got options. Yeah. I'm really jacked up for him.
Oakdale wins tonight 42-22 over Harriman. Big region game there. Oneida cruises 35-7 over Sequoia. Pigeon Forge, they got a big game next week on TV against Gatlinburg Pittman. I believe that'll be for a 2 seed. Pigeon Forge wins easily tonight 35-0 over Happy Valley. Rockwood 43-0 over McMinn Central. Sevier County wins 23-14 at Campbell County. I thought that game would be both teams scoring in the 40s or 50s. That was surprisingly low scoring tonight.
Yeah, I think some injuries are starting to hit Campbell County a little bit, especially offensively. They got to find a way to regroup. That's, again, 2 teams that were battling to get in the playoffs. That's a huge win for Sevier County.
Two teams that we're going to be talking about in Week 11. They play for a region championship. Loudon, Kingston. Both suffer losses tonight. Takes a little bit of the shine off of that game. For Loudon, they're playing a 5A school in McMinn County. They win 31-21 over Loudon. Kingston loses 34-33 to Stone Memorial, also I believe a higher classification school, but Kingston didn't run the ball very well tonight. They had to throw the ball, I think, 25 to 30 times. That's not what they're used to doing. That's outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, and then that's a recipe not for them to be successful. They want to run that football, limit your possessions offensively. They're going to have to do that against Loudon. Loudon has proven that they can throw the football around the yard, and so they're going to have to find a way to limit their possessions. It's going to be the run versus the pass, and figure out who can keep the other offense off the field.
All right, that's Kevin Smith. I'm Jesse Smithy. Next week we're going to be at Gold Star Nutrition for our playoff War Room show. Our guy Daniel's not going to be here. Are you going to get in the cryotherapy chamber this year?
No, I'm out.
We're not going to. We need somebody to quit. I got to find somebody. I'll find somebody. Last year, if you didn't see it, we put Daniel in the cryotherapy chamber. We gave him a quiz.
He was terrible, by the way.
How many questions did he get? We gave you 10 questions, I think.
Actually, he answered. He did a great. He actually did a pretty good job. I shouldn't say he was terrible. The problem is when you root for a certain college football team and you can't get that one right, that's the problem.
Dude, when you're freezing cold, I don't know what the temps are in there. I know it's sub something or whatever, but I was impressed. Yeah, I was surprised that he did as well as he did. So we'll try to find a new candidate to have a pop quiz in the cryotherapy chamber at Gold Star Nutrition. So make sure you're tuning in next week. We'll have pregame, we'll have halftime, we'll have post-game shows from Gold Star Nutrition. A ton of guests as we get you ready for the high school playoffs. Hard to believe we're in week 11 already. It's hoodie season now, yes, and feeling like playoff football. So thanks to all of our guests tonight: Nick Craney, Frank Johnson IV, Tommy Witten. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you in week 11 right here on 5 Star Live, presented by Waffle House.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
East Tennessee, the foothills of the Smokies, beautiful lakes, Friday night heroes, and one red light small towns with more life than any big city, where orange and white is displayed. Yeah, the one and only home of the Tennessee Vols, but also the home of the 134th Air Refueling Wing Volunteers. You might catch us in the beautiful skies of East Tennessee, flying the time-tested, irreplaceable, world-traveling, aerial refueling KC-135. Yeah, you heard that right. We refuel other aircraft while traveling the world at over 30,000 feet and 500 miles an hour. The amazing thing is, that's really not the 134th Air Refueling Wing's greatest strength. Our greatest strength is our airmen, our warriors, who have answered our nation's call. Guardians of freedom and justice, not only in our beautiful hills, but worldwide. They are our sentries and avengers, defending our country with their lives. They are the best of us, wingmen, leaders, and warriors, and you best believe they will never falter or fail. Flying, fighting, and winning, they are American Airmen and Tennessee Air National Guardsmen. So what are you waiting for? It's time to join the hometown team. Visit GoANG.com or call 1-800-TO-GO-ANG.